Tesla Model 3 has dominated the news cycle this week, despite the fact that CES was just last week and it had a lot of different unveilings and news. Nevertheless, Tesla has dominated the news cycle. Mainly good news, some not so good news. We're going to talk about it. And of course, we're going to talk about other things that are happening in the world of electric cars. We're going to do it right here live at E4 Electric, your number one source of what's happening now in the universe of electric cars. And we're going to start right now. All right, guys, today we are talking about everything that happened this week in the world of electric cars. We're also going to see how long this guy can last on 4 hours of sleep. And of course, we're talking about Model 3. Then we're just going to hang out. I'm going to answer some of your questions. I'm just gonna talk as usual, a little bit longer stream, of course, on Sundays, and I see everyone's already showing up in the chat room. Tom from Illinois, Vincent from France, of course, Tony here from Minneapolis. Let's see, Nate from Harrisburg, Pennsylvania, and Nigel from Ireland, he said. Eric from Canada, Quebec, welcome to the chat room. VTS 747 from Utah, Greg from Wisconsin. I can go on and on, but as you can see, this is an awesome community. If you haven't subscribed yet, go ahead and click on the subscribe button so you can become a part of it. And that way you won't miss anything that's happening in the electric car universe. Okay, guys, let's talk about Model 3. I'm going to switch it to the video once again. I think the biggest news, and I'm still a little bit puzzled by the fact that not too many people are like shouting about it. As you know, Tesla has been ramping up the production of a Model 3 and things have been going pretty well. More and more people are getting their notifications, more people are getting configurations and having their cars delivered. Of course, last week we had this big problem with the trim upgrade. Okay, well, I'm just gonna show that picture to you again, just so you know. Last week, some Tesla Model 3 new owners saw this trim on their Model 3, and I'll show you a little bit more of that, and this trim, and they got a little upset. They said, hey, you know, we actually thought it was going to be different. We thought it was going to be a suede-like material, so they all freaked out. Tesla did admit that there was a bit of their bad. They really didn't communicate well to their, especially those people who already had their configurations in process, the car in production, but it kind of came down because I think most people realized that, one, it was a tiny little portion of the premium package that they were paying for, and the materials are actually not that bad. I personally prefer that material to suede. Now, some of them were a little bit also upset the fact that Tesla was mixing and matching it with the suede-like material on the doors. But once again, I thought that was just fine because there's a upper trim, right, and there's a trim around your dashboard and the doors, and I thought it was just fine. Once again, here what it looks like, and I think it's perfectly fine. So once we got over that, we got back to good news, and here it is. Tesla has updated its configurator saying, hey, you know, we now have estimates for when the $35,000 version, the version that's everyone been kind of waiting for, is going to be here. And it looks like they're now saying that it's going to be early 2018, which kind of means that, you know, any day now. Now, probably not any day now. Probably was going to happen another month or maybe even 2 months. Some people will get that option in their configurator, and then it will take about 3 to 4 weeks for those cars to be actually produced and delivered. But it looks like, you know, it's only about 2 to 3 months at most when we're going to see that model. Now, I personally thought we're not going to see it until July or August. Now, I don't know if it's a good news or bad news, whether their production ramp up doing really well, or maybe they're trying, you know, having a hard time selling the extended long version of the car. Maybe it's a mix, I don't know, but nevertheless, that's good news. And that's something that I think people, I'm not really sure if people are really that, I don't know if people really realize that we've been waiting for this, guys, for 2-3 years, maybe 5 years for some of us, when Tesla finally promised us that we're going to have an affordable luxury car. And now it's kind of here, and people just don't see as many news as I see. Now, Eric in the chat room says, hoping I have a chance to order dual motor when I get my Model 3 invite February to March. Well, that brings me to the next news, because the same configurator update also showed that the dual motor is going to be available, and I quote, spring 2018. Now, from what I understand, Tesla intends to make their $35,000 standard range version before they go into make a dual motor version. And by the way, this picture right here has leaked on Reddit. So you kind of can see that they have two smaller engines, smaller than Model S, in the Model 3, but nevertheless, it is coming, and it looks like by the time you, Eric, and everybody else, by February, March, you should be able at least to configure it, and they will be delivering it to you. Now, by the way, in the chat room, and if you're watching in the replay, in the comments also, let me know what version of the Model 3 you guys are waiting for. Is it dual motor? Is it 35,000? Maybe you already bought one. Maybe you're waiting for both, which is not going to happen. You're not going to get a dual motor version for $35,000, but at least I'm talking about the standard range. Tony in the chat room says, Alex, it's my understanding that Tesla never said that the premium interior would be Alcantara for the Model 3. I think people just assume that it would be. Is that your understanding as well? No, Tony, that's not my understanding, because basically there are pictures. First of all, there are pictures of nothing but suede like, and I guess you call it Alcantara. I mean, and that's a brand, and I don't know how the hell to pronounce it. Alcantara material that was in their pictures they've released to the public, and that's what public kind of expected. Also, the Model 3s that were being delivered to other people and obviously shown on YouTube and so forth had that all over. So I think the expectation was correct to have the suede-like material, Alcantara, rather than what they're making right now. And I think the problem is really not so much the material. I feel like most people are okay with what it is, but the problem is they never said anything. They just kind of boom started delivering them and hope that people don't notice, and they did notice. So I mean, I think that's on them. I think that, I mean, communication on one hand has been a very strong point for Tesla, right? With Elon Musk communicating with everybody on Twitter, they send out emails all the time, and sometimes it's just been their, you know, worst enemy. I think this was one of those times, and I think they kind of know it too. Donald Noel in the chat room says Tesla did not hit trailer, drove under it. Okay, you guys are talking about the incident about the Autopilot. We're gonna get to the story in a second, guys. But you know, we'll get to it. James says hello from Massachusetts. Hi, James. How are you? Let's see. Nigel in the chat room says devil's advocate. Yes, maybe most of the 400,000 people in for the car want a lower end Model 3. Nothing really expected. Well, okay. So yes, I kind of agree that probably most people are at least got their names in line thinking that this would be an option, and maybe a lot of them have maybe just decided that that's what they really want. Now, this is what I want, to be honest with you. I don't need a range of 310 miles. I think it's too much. So I have two Teslas right now. One of them is a regular 60 Model S, and it's what, about 180 miles on one charge realistically. And to be honest with you, I never had range anxiety, and I never really have like a need to supercharge it while unless I'm traveling, of course. But when I'm traveling, I take my 70D. So that's that. And yeah, it's not even the money issue for me. It's just I don't need to pay for something I don't need. That's kind of silly, right? I'm just going to be dragging a bunch of batteries with me that I never use. That's definitely silly. Helmuth, one of the regulars in the chat room, says waiting for the dual and a standard battery. All right, well, that's probably going to be the last combination they make. Well, the last combination they're probably going to make is the right-hand drive for Europe. And I know people have been asking me that question. I don't know, guys. I'm sorry. I don't know when they're going to be. Obviously, it's going to be sometime soon, because they got to start delivering these cars in Europe as well, because people made reservations for the Model 3. So that's that, but I don't know yet. David in the chat room says, stop talking about the headliner. Who cares? I agree with you. Unfortunately, a lot of people cared, and it is still a thing, you know, as far as Tesla communication is concerned. But I'm recapping the news of the week, and that was one of the news of the week, man. Wait until I talk about the Tesla Autopilot. You're really gonna not like what I have to say about that. Let's see. Nigel says new or second hand, right hand drive, red, bigger battery if possible, at least less than 25,000 pounds before I die. All right, a girl can dream, right? Listen, they're making them, and it will get to you guys, well, you know, sooner rather than later. You know, somebody called me out in the comment section saying, you know, what are you talking about? Why are you talking about Tesla's schedule? You know, what do you mean sooner or later? It's all relative. They said sooner, then they said later, then they said sooner than later. So yes, point taken. Nigel says surely he could have designed it to be able to swap right drive to left and back. Well, you know, Semi doesn't have that problem because the center is dead, the seat is dead center in that cabin. So so that's that's definitely solves that problem. Alexis says hi from Brussels. How are you? Welcome to the chat. D Block 5566 says I often hear Tesla loses money on every Model 3 sold. What's your opinion on that? Good question. So here's the thing. How do you determine whether a company makes money or loses money on making a product, right? You can say, okay, well, this was how much it will cost for a company to make a product, and this is how much they sold it for. But now the sale price is obviously easy. But how much is Tesla spending on creating the car? Is this just the parts and labor? Or because then they're making great profits? Or are we still talking about the amount of money they've spent on, okay, let's see. Good dude, you're going to get banned if you're going to continue with this. Just so you know, I'm monitoring the chat right now. And yeah, and so are you, Raj. Okay, so you guys need to settle down. I mean, this is, I really have to monitor my chat like this. Okay, so, but are you gonna, are we counting all the robots that they had to implement and buy, and the new line that they've built for the Model 3? You know, so if you count that, then they're losing money all over the place. But then, you know, how do you, I mean, let's say each robot is $1 million. How do you know which part of that price we need to put into every Model 3 cost in order to figure out, okay, well, this is how much it costs from that robot investment point of view for that Model 3, right? So it's really hard to tell, you know. Yeah, they're losing money right now. They spend like $3 billion trying to build a line for a mass production car. That's kind of normal. Also, don't forget, guys, Amazon that's kicking ass and they're driving everybody out of business right now. How do you think they've started? You know how much money, do you remember how much money they've been losing in the beginning? Everybody said, well, what are they doing? And they were like, hey guys, we're building the process. We're building factories. We're building warehouses. We're hiring people. Give us a second, right? So this is hard to say. So whatever, by the way, the Model 3 has been, what, they made what, 3,000 or 4,000 of them, let's say. You can't right now say that they're losing money on them. Yes, they're losing money on them because they spent $3 billion to produce 4,000 cars, if you want to think about it that way. But if you think about it that okay, now they're all set up and they're going to be making this cars, and this is how much it's going to be costing from now on, well, then they're going to be making money on the Model 3. So, you know, it's just it's a tough question. Let's see. I'm going to start banning people from the chat room here. Raj, you're gonna be first. Sorry, but I've warned you. Let's see. All right, great. Nigel says Tesla making 30% on each Model S. Yeah, I mean, that one is a little bit easier to calculate, right? Because they've kind of been already set up and making them. And yes, they will make more money on cars that cost more. Obviously, this is why they're producing more expensive version of the Model 3 because it is a higher priced and higher margin car. So Tesla is investing, says multiple chips. You're absolutely right. Nigel says Tesla is not losing money. Well, again, let's see. I gotta ban you too. All right. There you go. Okay. I can't believe we got 2 trolls in one sitting. Multiple chips says companies operate at zero net anyways. They always reinvest. That's correct. Multiple chips says ban Raj. I just did. Let's see. There you go. Ask BMW how much money they made on i3 or i8, says Alexis in the chat room. So yeah, guys. Yeah, and by the way, guys, if you guys want to, some of you regulars, if you want to become moderators, let me know and I'll make you moderators. So you can ban these people on your own. Obviously, it's not even, it's pretty obvious. Helmut says it's estimated 22% on a short-range Model 3. DRK says investing in the company is what will make money in the future. That's exactly why I mentioned Amazon. That's doing pretty good. So I think we're on the same page here, right? Tesla will continue making money in this car more and more and more. And of course, they're going to try to get their investment back. And at some point, they're going to have to invest into the new equipment and robots and so forth. Ryan says, did Tesla update the autopilot to drive worse so that people will stop relying on it until it's actually able to be fully relied upon? You do have a point, Ryan, because if you remember in the beginning when the Autopilot 1 came out, you didn't really need to touch the wheel at all. Then once they had all those crashes and problems and bad publicity, they actually put that stipulation on, and now to me it's useless. As soon as they say, okay, here's an autopilot, oh, you got to keep your hands on the wheel anyway. To me, that kind of made no sense. Either give me the damn thing or don't give me the damn thing. Don't tell me here's an autopilot, but you got to keep your hands on it all times. There was a picture or video somebody posted the other day. A lot of people are talking about where the guy stuck an orange like inside of his wheel and stuff like that. And people go, you being irresponsible. This is a problem, people like you. But you remember that Tesla originally released it like that, literally with an orange built in for all of us to enjoy. So yes, you can argue that they made it worse. Now, what really made it worse, and I don't know if you know about this, and I was going to talk about it a little bit later, but okay, might as well get to that story. There was a study that a lot of people questioned the study that came out earlier this week, saying that out of 17 manufacturing technologies that they reviewed, Tesla was dead last as far as their autopilot technology. So let me go over this and explain what happened. So Tesla came out with the autopilot, what is it, 2.5 years ago now? And that autopilot was really manufactured and created by Mobileye, a company that was purchased by Intel for a ridiculous amount of money this year. At that time, it was just Mobileye was Israeli and still is an Israeli company, and Tesla was very happy with it. Now then, when it was time to kind of start upgrading to a second generation of it, they had a bit of a breakup. And there are two stories, obviously. Tesla was saying that Mobileye was upset that Tesla was creating their own sort of technology, which I kind of understand, My girlfriend would be kind of upset if I was seeing another girl say, hey, what are you doing, right? I'm sure your girlfriend or wife would feel the same way. So this kind of, Tesla was kind of cheating on Mobileye, and they got upset. Now, Mobileye says that Tesla was really pushing the limits for Mobileye and pushing them to put the technology that wasn't really ready, and they felt that they were releasing technology that was unsafe. So two different sides of the story. Nevertheless, they had a breakup, and Tesla said, you know what? We're going to develop our own 2.0 hardware and a software we're going to put in our cars moving forward. Now, the hardware is there, and they put the hardware in. Yes, a lot of people still criticize them, including myself, that LiDAR should be part of the level 5 autonomous driving hardware set. But at that time, LiDARs were really expensive. They're still kind of expensive right now. But nevertheless, Tesla said, hey, listen, this is the hardware. You can do level 5 once the software catches up. But with the software part, Tesla ended up writing the code from scratch and just not being able to catch up. Till this day, the 2.0 and now 2.5 autopilot is not as good as 1.0 autopilot. And here's the thing. Obviously, Tesla's right now trying to catch up to themselves from 2.5 years ago. Other companies, and there are a lot of startups, because this is just writing software, right? The hardware now you can get it from third parties and kind of retrofit your car with it. So it's just a matter of writing software. So there's a bunch of companies who kind of jumped on it and just done a better job on it. One of them was Cruise Automation that was purchased for GM, and they're basically being rated #1 in the study I just told you about. And they recently, you probably all seen this picture, where they have now submitted paperwork for the Department of Transportation of the US to approve this car. It's a dashboard, as you can see, of what appears to be a Chevy Bolt, but a steering wheel is missing and a pedal is missing, as you can see, and they're basically trying to get approval for what they believe is a level 4 ready software. Now, Bolt is So once Cruise Automation was purchased by GM, they started retrofitting some of their Bolt fleet and testing it, I believe, in New York. And now they're saying those cars are driving around on their own, level 4 autonomous driving, still with their employee in their seat. So they kind of bypassed Tesla with that. And also another company is, this is a Google's company called Waymo. And this is a picture I took here on the streets of Mountain View. And I saw one actually yesterday was on the Mountain View. These cars, I believe there's a Chrysler's retrofitted with the hardware, with the Google's Waymo software. And they achieved a level 4 driving in the suburbs of, I believe, Phoenix, Arizona, where, you know, in a certain area, they really are right now providing transportation service for people. And once this van pulls up, there's nobody in the driver's seat. Like, these cars are driving without anybody in the driver's seat. Now, Google's employee is still in a passenger seat just in case. But these vans are driving around. And, you know, people also, people jumped on me and said, well, this study is bad. You know, what are you talking about? I mean, actually, that video lost more subscribers for me than it gained. And, you know, I got to tell you guys, every time I talk negatively about Tesla, a bunch of people get really upset and just go like, no, this is not true, you know? And listen, I understand that, but this channel is not a Tesla feel-good channel. Even though I'm a huge fan, I've owned nothing but Teslas for the last 5 years, but they have their faults, and Autopilot is one of their biggest faults. And, you know, my job is to bring the news to you and be objective. So if that's not what you're looking for, there are other channels that will cheerlead you on for no matter what the Tesla, gotta get my chair up. No matter what Tesla does, but I'm going to objectively look at what they are doing or not doing, and Autopilot is unfortunately their issue right now. Now, also, a lot of people don't realize that other cars have pretty much the same features as Tesla has in Autopilot. They're just not calling it, and to be honest with you, they're not even advertising it that much. But BMW, Mercedes, Infiniti, they all have this driver assistant features that are already in their cars. Yes, they're gas cars, but, you know, I've been called out saying, well, there's no production car out there that has this, so why are you talking about it? By the way, this is another point I want to make. At the CES last week, I've talked to a lot of, you know, PR people, executives, CEOs, even, as you can see in some of my videos, and they've all told me that here's where autonomous driving right now is moving towards. We, the regular drivers, are not their target customer base right now. What they're targeting with their autonomous driving are Uber-like services, transportation services. So that's where it's going to be going next. That's where you're going to see this technology going first. And after that, that technology will be getting into our hands. So I wouldn't expect level 4 driving cars being sold anytime soon. I don't even see Tesla maybe updating it to level 4 anytime soon. The technology is kind of now targeting, the industry now targeting the Uber-like services, rideshare services. So that's where it's going. So you have to understand. And by the way, just because the technology is not mass production doesn't mean the technology doesn't exist and is better than Tesla. So anyway, so I'm just kind of trying to answer all the questions and comments that I've had in the in a comment section, because a lot of you guys got a little bit upset about it, but I just got to stand my ground on this one and say, yeah, you know, Tesla is a bit behind on this one. And hey, listen, I'm sure next time they update it, it will be amazing. As they've done before, but that's where we are right now, and so no reason to get upset. It is what it is. You know, they can't do everything. Let's see. Predrag in the chat room says it's amazing what they do. I agree. You guys are still talking about the Model 3 production profits, which nobody really knows right now. Let's see. How come when they lose so much money, is there a chance to get their money back when it comes out? Yeah, probably not, he says. I actually think they will get their money back. Flynn 567 in chat room. Let's see. Brandon in chat room says, with all the good news about the Model 3 rolling out to the general public, do we have any new info on the announcements of the Model Y? No, we don't have an announcement on the Model Y. However, if you guys saw, I released a video yesterday, and you can find it on my channel now. Hold on a second, I'm searching here. Here's the video that I did from CES last week, and this is about Kia Niro EV. It's a 238 mile range SUV that Kia just came up with. I wouldn't say came up with, they already have a hybrid, plug-in hybrid. Looks pretty damn good if you ask me. Decent range, established company with all the service centers and everything. And they are going to have it on sale this year because they don't really have to do much except for, you know, kick out the gas engine in their hybrid version and replace it with a battery. And so this is what I think will make Tesla make the announcement, at least reveal Model Y faster. Also, because they decided that the Model Y is going to be based on the Model 3 architecture, and I think even a powertrain, that yes, they will probably take it into the production much faster than they did with a Model 3. Oh, I was going to pull up a Model Y picture and I couldn't. It's not in my library right now. But anyway, check out this video, guys, and you will know why I think that this car is actually going to kick some ass, and that's why Tesla will get to their unveiling of the Model Y much faster. So let's see, I'm gonna go back in the chat room. Predrag in the chat room says, Alex, do you know something about new supercharger plans in Europe? No, I really don't know. I know they're behind. They wanted to double the number of their superchargers. Last year, they only got it about 75% of the way. But I do have to say that I've complained for an entire year last year that superchargers had a lot of lines, and it really made it not worth for me to go from San Francisco to Sacramento or Los Angeles. And I had to, yes, I admitted to it many times, I had to rent a gas car. That's how bad it was, but now it's getting much better. Don't know what's going to happen with all the Model 3s on the road, but at least for now, it's manageable. But I don't know about any other plans in Europe for the superchargers, though. Ionic, I believe, is the company name that BMW and Porsche and I think Volkswagen invested into, and this is going to be a supercharger-like network in Europe. They should already have, I think, 50 chargers like that, 50 locations. They're targeting 400 locations by 2020. So look into that as well, because that should be able to get Tesla going also at a relatively high rate. Not as high as a supercharger though. Nigel says, I was thinking Tesla could put SpaceX software in a car. That might shake things up. Yes, absolutely. You'll get a lot of tickets probably. But I mean, it looks like they are using, I mean, they kind of told us that they are using some of the technology they've worked on SpaceX in some of their technology that they're, you know, in their cars, which is smart. I mean, that's the whole point, isn't it? Let's say Ben in the chat room says, is Tesla making money on superchargers? Maybe this is their strategy for income revenue. Okay, so they're not, obviously, because the supercharger network is to support their car sales, and the biggest, you know, I'd say the biggest advantage Tesla has right now, and will continue having it over other manufacturers, the fact that they have own supercharger networks, so people can travel and they can do it pretty much, at least mainly for free right now with Model S and Model X. Yes, they're now creating locations. Like I also have a report from one of the largest superchargers in the world here in Kettleman City, California. Check it out on my channel, and they have a lounge where they sell their merchandise. Well, I mean, I bought my hot chocolate for like $5 or something, so that was crazy. But so they will turn them into mini convenience stores. So that's how they're gonna make money. And of course, they're putting some solar arrays on the roof of those superchargers to get some of the money from the solar rather than from the local PG&E or whatever electric utility company they're buying it from. But yes, not yet. I'm sure they'll figure it out. Donald says, I don't think Mobileye was upgradable to a full level 5. AP2 is intended to be part of full autonomous. Yeah, well, so Mobileye wasn't that very first Autopilot 1.0 version that I have in both of my cars wasn't upgradable, but don't forget they were working on that version, and right now I believe they're providing their technology to like 13 other manufacturers. So technically Tesla is missing out, and they've moved forward greatly. I was at the Intel CEO, had a keynote speech at the CES. It was an amazing show, guys. If you see it, if you have a chance to YouTube it somewhere, it was literally like a Las Vegas show. But what he was showcasing in Mobileye, the fact that they are really far out with this technology. As a matter of fact, I forgot to mention this, Intel CEO said that he's going to get a retrofitted Ford that they had on stage for that, and he's going to drive it to work every day right here in the Bay Area. So I'm actually probably should make a note to follow up on that story. So no, Mobileye has already moved on, and their hardware and software, I believe they're claiming level 4, but I'm just saying they weren't just going to produce the same software and hardware for Tesla forever. They would have upgraded it as well. And Nigel says, considering Tesla have had problems making auto wipers for Model 3 makes me concerned about how quick they can autonomize any Tesla. Well, so this is not just for Model 3. That automatic wiper is really a rain sensing wiper. It's still in beta on all cars, Model S, Model X as well. And I think that's what people are having problems with, is that because I have it in my car, which is a 1.0 Autopilot, and people who just bought their Tesla Model S or Model X don't. As a matter of fact, relatively cheap cars nowadays have that, and Tesla is still struggling with that. So it is a concern, guys. I mean, you know how I feel about the Autopilot. So I'm just going to go ahead and leave it there. My chat scrolled so fast. Sorry, I missed some. Guys, I'm going to have to skip some comments because you guys are typing just too fast and I can't reply too fast. Battery upgrades is a great idea. I like the idea of leasing the battery too, says Ben. I'm really puzzled by the fact that Tesla did not end up doing that. They kind of shut down that program. I think that's the way to go. As a matter of fact, I reported on this car, on this manufacturer that came on the scene, a Niro. I do not have a picture for them either. Sorry, guys. But Niro ES8, that's the car that has been unveiled this year. And it's, last year, it's going to be in production in China this year. And part of their strategy is selling their cars with an option of not having a battery. So you can buy it for like $40,000 American dollars in China and then lease your battery. I think this is a great idea. I really hope Tesla and everybody else goes with it, because this way, battery is a different thing, just like it is in your phone, just like it is in your alarm clock, whatever you guys use batteries in, right? It is not a concern. The power source is no longer a part of a product. You can replace it if you want a longer range. You can lease a battery with a longer range. If you don't need it, you can lease it with a shorter range. You're not really that concerned about the technology being outdated or a battery being depreciated or having any kind of problems with it. So I really think this is where the future is. And of course, battery swapping is much faster than any type of charging, really. So Ibrahim in the chat room says, I think Tesla is getting us level 4 with in 2018. I really strongly doubt it, but they've surprised us before. M Garcia 808 says, hi, is Tesla a Model 3 delivery estimator accurate? I mean, their delivery estimate of anywhere is really not that accurate, depending, at what time they made a statement to you. But right now, I believe it's a window of 3 months. So you better hope it's accurate, because at this point, there's really no more wiggle room. But I would say that yes, it's definitely within those 3 months, though. Whenever your delivery has a 90-day range, that's not really accurate in the first place, if you ask me. But I would say yes to your question. DRK in the chat room says the only advantage I think Tesla has is the deep learning data they have collected with the amount of cars they have all over the world in different conditions. Yes, that is true. They do have that data, which I believe is called macro mapping, is where they record data where the cars have gone. And so now they don't just have the maps of the roads, they have maps of lanes of the roads. And basically also, well, in this lane, when someone's in the right lane on this freeway, 30% of people took that exit, between 4 and 6. So if it's on an autopilot, that is a possibility. Also, most people took that exit at 40 miles an hour or whatever. And this is what we should adjust the autopilot to. And big data is everything nowadays. And yes, but I still think that the biggest asset that Tesla has is their supercharging network, because no one else has it. And I believe it will be a while until anybody really can rival that. So by the way, I should also mention to you guys that this stream and this channel is sponsored by EvanX, the aftermarket accessories for Tesla owners. I have a few of their items as well, and if you want to buy something there, by all means, the link in the description of this video, but most importantly, also your very personal discount code that they given specifically for us is also there as well. All right, now we talked about the Tesla's unfortunate rating of being dead last in their autonomous driving technology. Let's see, I'm gonna catch up on the chat room. Let's see, you guys are talking among yourselves. No more trolls, look at that, that's pretty good. Vesalius in the chat room says also the energy needs to be produced from green energy only. What about the batteries and the toxic ingredients? Well, so first of all, right now, lithium ion batteries are obviously not that easy to recycle, though you could recycle them. I believe we are moving towards the solid state batteries, and they're easy recycle. I mean, I believe it's easier to recycle those. But yes, listen, this is an argument that we've had for, you know, a long time, is that, hey, you know, right now, all these Tesla cars and all electric cars, they're not 100%, you know, friendly, because superchargers and your chargers might be getting the electricity from the dirty coal energy, which is true. The trucks that deliver parts to Tesla factory also run on gas, and, you know, lithium ion batteries are tough to recycle in the environment. This is all true, but you know, we can't change everything overnight, right? First, you have to produce a product, which Tesla has done, and a lot of others are following suit. Next, the product that everybody loves, and it has to be a green product, right? Then we're gonna start figuring out, okay, how we can build the infrastructure and the green infrastructure around that product. And that's what's happening as well, and Tesla leading the way. Well, not leading the way, we're definitely on a front of that, is by having something that you can buy, where you can buy, you know, solar roof, get the energy that way, store it in your battery, home your battery, and then charge your car with that. In my case, I actually pay about 10% to my local utility company to guarantee that the electricity that I buy to charge my car comes from nothing but green sources, which in California here is solar and wind. So, and then of course, you know, semi trucks that Tesla is making are going to be the trucks that they're going to be using to deliver parts and transfer parts between two of their factories. So little by little things will happen, but they just can't happen overnight. Guys, it's only been 5 years since Model S really came out, and that's where I believe the revolution has kind of started. So yeah, Mark is asking about the Kia Niro EV. He's wondering if it's going to sell in all 50 states. Yeah, I mean, I mean, once they ramp up the production and everything. But yeah, I believe the only reason companies sell in like California only is because they're hydrogen fuel cell cars, or if there's a really limited amount, like right now with Tesla, right? They're mainly selling it people in California, but no, Kia will sell it in all 50 states and around the world too. Tony, correctly so, says in the chat room, no company is perfect. No company is perfect. However, the pursuit of perfection is what we seek in companies. True words, as always, Tony. Zoe has auto wipers, says Nigel. You know, a lot of cars have auto wipers, so it's Nigel also says, did you hear Renault Zoe's 6 months wait now due to French post office ordering hundreds? I did not hear that. As always, if you guys think there's a story that I haven't covered, go ahead and email it to me. I definitely would love to read it. And this is the great thing about this community, is you guys delivering so much stuff to me as far as the data and just knowledge, that I really appreciate it. This is a community effort as far as I'm concerned. I really appreciate it, guys. And by the way, let me just do a quick shout out to my Patreons. The Patreon page is in the description of this video. Thank you for those who support the show. I post some behind the scene footage, some of the exclusive videos there. Right now there's an interview with Nikki of Transport Involved there, uncut, for you guys to enjoy. I'm going to post some other stuff, but also kind of a quick preview. I'm going to release another video from CES, and this is about the electric truck, workhorse electric truck that's going to be on sale this year. They're taking reservations. It goes about 80 miles, which is not great on a charge, but it's an extender BMW engine, to 400 miles. The only game in town, as far as I'm concerned. But if you want an electric pickup truck, this is something you might want to look at. The video is going to be uploaded tonight at 6 p.m. Pacific time. So please, if you haven't subscribed, go ahead and subscribe so you don't miss anything moving forward. And my video keeps freezing. Let me know if it keeps freezing for you guys, and if it's annoying, though. I don't really know if there's anything that I can do. Nigel says, what's a troll? Did they say naughty stuff? Well, troll is somebody who just gets into your social media feed or like in a chat room and just starts I don't know, trolling, I guess. That's the right word. I mean, you know, previously the dude was just trying to type as many curse words as he could, or some people will just, you know, have like personal attacks or whatever, start talking crap about whatever it is that you're talking about, just basically wasting your time, being kids. Usually those are kids or adults acting like kids. Ben asks, why don't people wait for Autopilot level 4 comes out? Because we don't know when it's going to be. And as a matter of fact, a lot of people do love to drive their car. So like, for example, me, if I'm going to, it looks like I'm going to get myself another Tesla later this year, maybe in January next year. And I don't think I'm going to be getting an Autopilot, especially if it's going to stay within the same kind of set feature as it is right now. I am probably just not going to get that option at all. So that's where I stand on this. So yeah, it's in the same thing with Model 3. If I was to get it, or my girlfriend was to get it, we're just not going to get an Autopilot because we like to drive. I mean, what can I tell you? Chris says, it's better to get less pollution in the cities where more people are than where power plants are. That's true, but I prefer to have no pollution whatsoever. Most of the major countries grid are getting greener year over year. I mean, yeah, and here in the United States, we are getting more. The largest growing source of energy in the United States by far is green energy, which I believe is solar and wind. Let's see, Ben is explaining what the troll is. Thank you for that. Donald says, remember, Autopilot was never intended to be autonomous. Autonomous is an extra $3,000. Well, there's nothing autonomous. There's just no autonomous technology on level 5 right now anyway, anywhere. But I think it was a mistake to call it Autopilot. I mean, they tried to backpedal and say it was driver assist, but I think it was too late because the name stuck. It's a great name, right? Stan in the chat room says, will the Kia Niro EV be offered in all-wheel drive? I'm sure it will at some point, but I believe they will start with just a rear-wheel drive, as that kind of makes sense. Obviously, all-wheel drive cars require more engineering. But of course, they will probably take it to market faster because don't forget, they're already making Niro SUV in a hybrid and a plug-in hybrid version. So they're much further than any other manufacturer would be if they were creating a car from scratch, right? By the way, also, if we haven't talked about it, as you can see, this is a picture from the Stanford Shopping Center here in Palo Alto, California. One of the first display cars of the Model 3 that came out. The line was up to 3 hours, I believe, on some days, especially on the weekend. They rolled out more display cars. I know here in the Bay Area, in San Jose and Walnut Creek. There are some in New York, New Jersey, and Florida, and there are more display cars are rolling out in Tesla showrooms around the country. And this is exciting simply because it is, you know, people can now see this car for themselves, see what it looks like. They can actually sit in there, you know, play around with the user interface, see what it looks like. There will be no misunderstanding what kind of trim it has. So don't forget, if you go in there on a weekend, it's probably going to have a line. I shot this footage in Stanford Shopping Mall before people even found out. Shortly after that, the line was much longer. Right now, it's literally like 5 people, but the line was like 3 hours long on the weekend. So check it out. You should receive an email, and I believe this is what the email is going to look like. When you receive it, if you're a Model 3 reservation owner, this is they will tell you that the Model 3 is available in the store near you, and the time and date when they actually going to open. Though I gotta tell you, this is only for the store like right next to you. You know, that when they had it in Stanford, that is a little bit further than, from me than San Jose store, and then I never got an email about that. So you might want to kind of monitor that yourself. But if you live anywhere in California, New York, or Florida, you probably are going to be having one delivered to your local showroom. Flynn 567 says, my country is getting more greener. Most taxis are hybrid and a few companies are using electric cars. Please remind everybody where you're from. But I think most countries, especially European countries, are getting greener. Now, Chris, that comment I'm afraid to read, because I agree with it and a lot of people don't. Nuclear energy is still a great way to get energy without emission, even though we got to bury the remaining of the nuclear reactors. Well, first of all, I absolutely agree. Nuclear power is probably the greenest and best way to go. People are really freaked out because obviously Chernobyl is still fresh in our minds, even though it happened like 30 years ago. And, you know, in Japan, I know after the earthquake, there were some issues as well. But nuclear energy, and don't forget, you know, the waste from nuclear energy is actually, it's like a bucket. literally a bucket a year of nuclear waste for one nuclear power. I believe, was it Germany that's like 80%, or France 80% powered by nuclear power, and it's extremely safe with all of the computers and safety and the technology. It is extremely safe, and I wish we could move forward to it, but at least here in the United States, people are way too freaked out. The regulations, and it's just not going to happen. But that really is the way to go, I believe. But thank you for that comment, but we're probably going to get a lot of comments about how bad this is, and then we're going to have another conversation, which I guess that's what it's all about. Cheaty, I'm not sure if that's your name, but Tesla says Tesla doesn't need to respond to every EV competitor. They don't have to respond, but you know, when you have competitors and people like it better than your feature or your product, you kind of need to respond. But they don't have to every single one. It's probably not even possible. Let's see. Let me catch up to the comments. Do you know something about the Hyundai Kona electric? I actually don't. Let's see. Hyundai just kind of disappointed me big time at CES. They've unveiled their SUV. It has a 370-mile range, but unfortunately, it is hydrogen fuel cells. I'm just looking for the video if I still have it. I will have a video for it, guys, probably in the next week, because that's the list of my priorities to do for the CES footage that I still have. But yeah, they've been a disappointment, so I'm really not following them as much. I did in the video that I have right now, you'll see that my interview with Kia, which is a sister company of Hyundai, executive vice president, and I did ask him a question. I didn't put it in a video about hydrogen fuel cells, why they keep making the damn things, and he basically said that those are more popular in Europe, in Japan, and this is something where they count on governments to provide the infrastructure for them, which I think is not going to happen, and that's why I think it's a mistake. Alexa says a bucket a year. She's referring to the bucket that I say nuclear power plants now produce per year. Yeah, she said that will be there for the next 1,000 of years. You can control it now, but what about 200 years from now? Well, I mean, you know, we have waste. We have waste, and a lot of it may not go away, especially anything that's made out of plastic. That takes a long time to degrade. Lithium-ion batteries for, you know, other things. So, you know, and, you know, right now we can recycle it, but at some point we could recycle them. And also, I think we'll be exploring other planets around us, which we'll probably use as garbage dumps at some point, because the moon and Mars they're just there. And I think if we're able to, you know, dig up a big hole there and put garbage in there like we do right now with like poor countries, that's probably going to be one of the solutions that probably going to be acceptable. So we will find solutions. Nuclear waste without emission, do you include radioactive emission? Well, Alexis, they don't have radioactive emissions anymore. The technology has really caught up. And again, they never have until something would blow up. But that's really controlled right now by the technology. So what I'm saying is, if you read up on it a little bit and see how it works, you know, and Germany is a great example, you will see how this is no longer Chernobyl type of a situation. It's actually very controlled, very clean. So, but I'm happy to have a conversation about it, of course. Charlie in the chat room says, how many people will the Model Y seat? I'm going to assume they're going to seat 5 at first. Well, actually, no. I think they will just going to seat 5. Because it's, you know, it's a crossover SUV, so there will be no third row seats in that car. I expected it's going to be the size of Model 3 because that's the platform they're building it on, so that would just make more sense. Let's see. Nigel says nuclear. No. Tell it to the two-headed fish in the Irish Sea. Listen, we had our problems with nuclear. I'm from Russia. Trust me, I know. Believe me, and I don't mean it as a joke. I know that there was a horrible catastrophe that still people are dealing with. Same thing with Japan. But, you know, we have to move forward. We can't give up on technology just because, you know, things blow up. And as you know, just like, you know, how many oil spills have we had? You know, catastrophic oil spills, and nobody says, oh, no more oil, right? At least not for that reason. So we just need to get better at stuff that we do to move forward. And unfortunately, you know, that the catastrophes and disasters happen as we move forward, and this is not the first one, that's not the last one, but we can't just give up on everything every time there's an accident. Then we'll still be making fire out of, you know, sticks if we give up on everything. Bozo the Clown is in the chat room. Hey, welcome. This is the first time I see you here. He says this is she says this is a false information about nuclear energy. Do you own Googling nuclear is so unsafe? No insurance company in the world will issue a policy. Well, Bozo the Clown, I have done some Googling, and I would offer you to do the same. Again, Germany, I believe, maybe it's France, guys, but there's a country, one of those two countries, I believe they produce 80% of their nuclear energy from nuclear sources. Listen, I'm not saying that's just 100% ready to go right now and nothing will ever happen. But it is a power source that we should consider. It is much better than oil. Let me tell you, it is much better than oil. Let's see, I'm just gonna scroll down. I like electrics. I'm between Leaf and Zoe. What do you recommend? Says Vesalius. Okay. I gotta tell you, we don't have a Renault Zoes here in the United States, though I've seen one at the Nissan Research Center, but I don't like the way they look, although I do understand they're very practical in Europe, right? But the new Nissan Leaf, especially if you wait till 2019 with a 225-mile range, though right now you have a 151-mile range, which I think is comparable to Zoe just a little bit, but I like their new look. I like what that car, so I would go with the Nissan Leaf. But it's so hard to because everyone's got their own needs, right? Like, I really like the car that looks good, so to me it's important. And some people really need range, and some people really want to be on a budget, and some people want to lease their battery instead of buying. All of those questions I can't help you to answer. This is really your personal, obviously personal, your business, and of course how much it costs. So I'm afraid to recommend. I'm just saying I would go with a Nissan Leaf, but it's just me, and I live in a different country also. So I don't want to sway you one way or another and give you bad advice because I'm not you. Steve says, I think I need to get some water. I've been talking for like almost an hour. By the way, guys, if you like hanging out here with me and the rest of people in chat room, please go ahead and click on that thumbs up icon. That usually helps the video to do well. I really appreciate it. Of course, one more shout out to my Patreons who have contributed to my show. It's not cheap to produce. Like, for example, my week at CES was about $3,000. Ouch. But thank you guys for helping me out there. The link is in the description of this video, but I also produce some exclusive content for you guys as well to give you some value there. Let's see. Steve says, people are right to be freaked out about nuclear. Granted, the land around Chernobyl is still devastated, and it will be for many years. Imagine how bad it could have been and on what scale. Again, Chernobyl 30 years ago in Russia. We're talking about America 2020-25 with all of this technology. Again, a lot of other countries have done it already. So I'm just much more, not even hopeful, much more sure in this technology than before. And Isaac, right, when he says when it goes bad, it really goes bad with nuclear, the damage will go on for hundreds of years. That is true. I knew that my comment, and whoever posted that comment started this war. I wasn't going to talk about nuclear energy, guys. But listen, nuclear energy is technically green energy, okay? Let's see, nuclear car, says Nigel. Yeah. Ben says more people have died from coal than the nuclear. That's a pretty good point, Ben. There you go, guys. Counter argument right there. Let's see. DRK says, I'm going to check my local gallery in Atlanta. I'm assuming you're talking about Tesla showroom. Please do. And if you guys, whenever you see something cool happening in the world of electric cars, you know, I can be everywhere. If you can take pictures or photos as or videos, I meant, please do go ahead and send them to me. A lot of times I'd love to put them right here on the show. Alex@for electric.com. It's easy to reach me. Nuclear power has one huge downside, the waste. DRK, just like I said, the waste is very tiny nowadays. I think the biggest downside is a potential accident, of course. Let's see. I'm just scrolling. Amir says, agree, shoot it towards the sun. We're talking about shooting that into the space, the nuclear energy waste. Nigel says Germany are closing all nuclear plants. Sorry, it is France that is 80%. Okay, so it's France. Thank you for correcting me there. Yes, and that's true. DRK says no one wants to live near that, and unfortunately, too many things have gone wrong with how it is handled. Guys, I agree with all of that. I mean, you know, I'm not just blindly saying yes, nuclear plant right now. I wouldn't want to live probably next to one. I wonder. Depends on how low the prices are going to go down here, because you know, Silicon Valley, it is not cheap. Bozo the Clown says, sure, sounds like few here have any chemistry or physics background, not clean, not controllable when power is lost. Okay, listen, I think this is a bigger conversation. You're right, Bozo the Clown. It is a scientific conversation to be had. I will just gonna point you to France, and I will Google it myself. I'll take your advice, and I'll be a little bit more prepared next time for the conversation. But again, France 80% nuclear. They may know something we don't know. Let's see, and don't forget, we're comparing it to freaking oil. Remember that? Okay, let's move on, guys. I think we have some other topics that we haven't talked about, because all we talked about is Tesla Model 3, which, as granted, have been the big story. But Detroit Auto Show was happening, and there were a lot of news coming out of there. Let me just walk through some of them that are kind of blah. A lot of concept cars. So for example, Lexus said, here's our concept car for LF1, which is their concept for electric car, for electric SUV. Looks great. However, they gave us really no stats or kind of plans on what's happening. You know, I've been a critic of Toyota for not really pushing the envelope very hard or at all. Nevertheless, that's what they got going on. Ferrari came out and stirred up a pot a little bit, saying that they're going to make an electric supercar and beat Tesla and everybody else to market. I think they're a little bit delusional, because first of all, Tesla already, you can argue that the Roadster was a supercar in its own way, but also there is a Concept 1, I believe. And there are 2 or 3 other major supercars out there that are electric. So I don't think Ferrari really knows what's going on, but they like making outrageous statements. This is one of them that was in the news. BMW also released, this is not really the picture, but this is one of their concept cars, but they said that they're going to compete with Model 3 very soon by converting their iNext concept into reality with over 400-mile range, where they have upgraded from the previous promises. So, and Infiniti said that they also going to electrify their Infiniti fleet. Nissan is saying that by 2021. Let's see. So yeah, all of that is fluff for now, guys. I'm really not that keen on you know, all these concept cars with no real stats and no real definition when they're gonna go in production. But one of the splashes that were made, probably the biggest splash at the Detroit Auto Show, was made by the company that nobody really knew about, at least here in the United States, and I bet in Europe. Let me know if you guys knew about it. Sorry, I'm just looking. Oh, here it is. GC. This is the Chinese company. They're actually big manufacturer there. They're 5th largest. They've been making cars, hundreds, thousands of cars in China for a while, but they wanted to introduce themselves to you guys and me here, you know, in the United States and Europe, Canada, and the rest of the world. They want to start doing business there. This is the electric concept car that they've showcased. There's a lot of cool stuff in there. As you can see, doors don't have windows, which I've already mentioned is a deal breaker, because you can't order Starbucks or McDonald's drive-through with this damn no window doors. So that's gonna have to get updated. But this is just a concept car. What they really going to bring to America first is their current GS8, I believe it's called, SUV. It's a gas SUV, has nothing to do with electric cars, but that's how they're going to introduce themselves to the United States, and then hopefully bring this little number here with Windows to the US. So I think they made the biggest splash, and those were the non-Tesla news this week, which I found, of course, exciting. Quick reminder, guys, don't forget that I have a video about this little thing. This is a pickup truck, electric pickup truck, and I have a report from CES that's coming out at 6 p.m., which is about 6 hours from now. Pacific time. So if you haven't subscribed to the channel, please do so, because you can become a part of this awesome community. Look at this chat, and of course you won't miss anything moving forward, at least nothing that's going on in the world of electric cars, because I got you covered every day, live news. Let's see, Nigel. I don't know why your thing got censored. My girlfriend says I'm here. Did I miss anything? Oh man. Well, she just scared me a little bit weird when she walked in. But I don't know. I mean, we're doing a recap, babe. So I'm, nothing that you haven't heard or seen before. By the way, big thank you to my girlfriend Lachelle, who is in the chat room. She was my cameraman and a cheerleader and a massage therapist during my CES days. It was 16-hour days for 4 days. It was really intense. The videos that you see coming out on this channel about CES have been a lot of work, and she was there with me to help. Not really sure if everything would have turned out as awesome, and it did if it wasn't for her. So say hi to her in the chat room. She is now watching, and she is an admin, so watch out. Chris says, what happened to Volvo going all electric by 2020? I think they're still planning on doing so. I'm assuming it can't be done overnight. So, but yeah, they better meet their deadline, because a lot of people have really high hopes for them, and so do I. And they're producing good looking cars. I never cared for Volvos. I thought they were always boxy and ugly, but they're producing some really good looking cars. Flying electric cars are next, says Jenna. Absolutely. As a matter of fact, I believe they're working on an all-electric airplane. Also at the CES, they had 3 or 4 like drone helicopters kind of a thing. They're electric. I forgot what they call, but they're like electric helicopters. Even during the Intel keynote speech, they just flew one off the ground on stage. That was kind of cool. Volvo news. What are they doing to get electric, DRK says? Well, they've announced that they're going to invest a lot of money into it, and they've committed to it. I think what a lot of manufacturers are doing right now is a lot of talk for us as far as their news are concerned, but they're working hard on the back end to meet those, because if other cars beat them to it, obviously they're going to get outdated, they're going to get outsold and so forth. And most importantly, they're not going to meet their own promises, and that usually drives people away from the brand. Tesla is an exception because they're brand new and people give them a lot of slack for that. But company like Volvo, if they're going to miss their own deadline, there's going to be hell to pay. And most importantly, people will go. My chair keeps sliding. People will go to other brands because there are a lot of other cars coming out this year. Obviously, Jaguar I-Pace is one of them, right? Porsche Mission E, that's not going to look like this, but they're going to look very similar. Of course, we're talking about Chevy Bolt. Nissan Leaf is already here, and there will be other cars that are coming out this year. And of course, Niro EV from Kia, and that's the one that I believe is the most outdated car that's on the market this year that people will be very surprised by. Let's see. Nigel says Toyota actually advertising hybrids as better than plugins. Disagree. So do I. Absolutely. Need to electrify their brands. Idiots. Chinese are coming, so don't complain about it. You have been warned. Toyota has been a disappointment, so is Honda. They have been very behind on their everything, really, as far as electric cars are concerned. But here's a counter argument to that. Those are really large companies, and they can afford to wait, right? Yes, this is an opportunity for startups like Tesla and Lucid and others. This is also opportunity for companies like Kia to kind of become a leader or one of the leaders in the technology. Volvo can reinvent themselves with electric cars. But Toyota and Honda, they can sit on their butts and wait and see what technology wins, to see once the market is bigger, right? Right now, it's only what? 1% of all cars sold around the world are electric. That is tiny, Honda and Toyota is probably sitting there saying, all right, let's see these guys battle it out, bring the technology, see which technology wins. They will expand. They will sell the idea, which is expensive, right? Selling a new idea to the world. That's what Tesla's doing. That's what other car companies are doing now. And Toyota and Honda just sitting there and watching everybody spend their money and efforts. And then because how huge they are, how big of a staff and talent they have, and most importantly, how much money they have, they can turn things around much faster and produce a car within 1 or 2 years and catch up to everybody. Now, I still think the charging network will be a problem, but that's a problem for pretty much everybody but Tesla. So that's just a kind of counterpoint for you guys as far as why Toyota and Honda are not doing things. But you know what? They're not going to get any business from me. I don't care if they come up with a great car because they haven't done much now. I think I'm going to be not even looking at them as companies I want to do business with. And I used to love Lexus. Mario in the chat room says, if it's possible, try to interview the guys from Bollinger. You know what? I have reached out to them. They said they would, except for I have to get to New York because that's where they are. And they were not present at CES, which was kind of disappointing. So whenever they're here or whenever I fly or get somewhere to a show where they are, I will make sure to interview them. Sounds like another great electric car startup that I would love to find out more about. For those of you guys who don't know, they do kind of an off-road, a rugged Jeep type of cars that are also electric. Kind of look like maybe a little bit Range Rovers, I think. Let me know if you guys agree. Frosty Flake, one of the regulars in the chat room, says Volvo has backed off the electric claims. They're all electric plane pilot trainees just certified in Australia. Okay, I'm not really sure if they've backed up of their electric claims, but I'll maybe research it a little bit more. Let's see. There are 3 electric planes certified already, says Frosty Flakes. Absolutely, I've seen a lot of news coming out about electric planes. It's happening like it looks like it's happening. Nigel says in the UK, government spending a fortune on fusion reactors. Fusion reactors, I'm assuming you meant. Cost mad money, will be obsolete by the time it's out. All right, Christian says, you know, the new hydrocar Mercedes GLC F-Cell, you know what, they had it on the display. Didn't really pay much attention to it because I think that hydrogen fuel cells is not really the way to go. But yes, Mercedes has one, and just like I said, any Russian EV, says Nigel. I believe somebody sent me a link or video to a Russian electric car. It has 80 to 100 mile range, just like any other sort of a EV out there on the market from a few years ago. I think it's called Lada, L-A-D-A, but yeah, nothing to really brag about, but I believe Russians do. The culture at Toyota is not great right now, says Gene in the chat room. They will evolve, but it will take time. Agree. Chris in the chat room says, I'm literally looking forward to the new Honda's electric car. I can't remember the name. I think it's called Urban EV. Look like an old retro car. Yes. It looks like a lot of their robots. Now, Honda had a huge booth at CES in the automotive section, and it was nothing but robots. So that was a little disappointing. A smooth operator says, I think when Toyota Honda first hit with their EVs, they will have more range than the current EVs. I don't know about that, because I mean, a lot of companies are working on range. And also don't forget, it's companies like LG, for example, LG Chem, right, that will end up making batteries for electric cars, just like Tesla uses Panasonic technology. So the range may not be a thing of the manufacturer of the car. The range could be a thing of the manufacturer of the battery for that car. So I think that's something that still hasn't been figured out, but I think that's where it's all going. Let's see. Barry says, getting a Renault Zoe in March for $17,000, but the battery will be leased. Congratulations on that, Barry. Obviously, let me know how it goes. Maybe a little bit of video. Send it to me, and of course, I will be more than happy to feature that, because we here in the United States don't know much about Renault Zoe. Again, I only seen it once. They are doing really well in Europe. Frosty Flex says there was an announcement from Volvo. Okay, I will check on that story with Volvo. They kind of fell out of the news feed, at least for me. I will definitely check on that. Thank you, I appreciate that. Let's see. Ben says, are there controls on steering wheel on Model 3? Yes, there are controls on the steering wheel. I don't have a picture right now available, but there are two very customizable spinners. What do we call those? I forgot the name. The little wheels that are customizable, and most importantly, I wouldn't say customizable, they're multifunction. So you can use them to adjust the actual wheel itself, up and down, left and right, and so not left and right, in and out, I guess. They can control mirrors with it. You can control air conditioning and a lot of different things. So they're multifunction wheels there on, and I believe there's also it's been a while since I was behind the wheel of Model 3, but yes, the answer is yes. They're just not as many of them. They're just more, they're just working smarter, not harder, I guess, is the right way to say it. Ben says, Honda and Toyota pushing hydrogen. Yes, I don't know why. We'll see. Maybe they know something we don't, you know. They do have enough power to kind of bring it back if they wanted to. Not sure if that will happen. Let's see. Come to the Caribbean, Jamaica says Norway within the next 10 years, all of their local flights with 90 passengers or less will fly only on electric planes. Listen, Norway has been the friendliest country to electric vehicles. The last month of December, more than half of their cars that were sold in Norway had an electric powertrain. So either hybrids, plug-in hybrids, or fully electric. So Norway is definitely a great example for the rest of the world of how to adopt the electric technology. Though, of course, we need to mention that they export a lot of oil. A lot of oil burns outside of Norway for them to implement this green energy, but that's just how it's done. This is just how we have to get used to it. George Miska in the chat room. George, I haven't seen you in a while. Welcome back. I hope everything's okay. There is a new beta version, Autopilot, just for employees. Did you hear anything? No, I have not. Yeah, I have not. And that's kind of weird. Are you saying it's a rumor or this is actually happening? Of course, as always, please drop me a link to alex@e4electric.com. Of course, you guys are awesome because you are the ones that are feeding me the news a lot of times. Maybe this could be one of those times and I'll definitely feature it. Damn, probably tomorrow. That would be pretty big if it's really true. Nigel says, "Can you use the buttons to turn down the car's price?" Okay, that's a good point. I'll tell you how you turn down the price of Tesla. Here, I'm going to give you a power tip right now. This is what I've done already before. This is what I'm going to do next. Now, unless you have to have a latest and greatest, especially like Model 3 right now, here's what you do. You can buy not a certified pre-owned, but what they call an inventory car. Okay, it's a car that Tesla used for either test drives or a car that was borrowed by other Tesla owners when they drop off their own car at the service center. So those are not like rental. I mean, they're rental car, they're loaners, but Tesla owners usually treat other Teslas well. So they don't have as big of a wear and tear. But those cars, after a few thousand miles, they get put on sale by Tesla and for a ridiculously high discount sometimes. I believe my car had a $15,000 discount and only had like 6,000 miles. And of course, they completely renovated. It's all completely, it basically looked brand new when I got it, because they detailed it, they reconditioned it, the paint and everything. But you can get major discounts and you can still buy it or lease it as a new car, because technically that car was never sold, right? It was just, it got to the showroom and it still was in possession of Tesla. So you can still lease those cars and you can get major discounts on those cars. That is also part of the inventory at Tesla.com. So look that up, and that's how you decrease the price of your Tesla. I believe that's the only way how you can get a discount on your Tesla right now. So there you go, guys. Power tip for those of you who want to save some money while buying a Tesla. Tom says, future is where cars can communicate with each other. Tom, you're absolutely 100% right. Just talking about the CES stuff that I've seen, and I'm going to go ahead. I just want to, for some entertainment purposes, I'm going to give you another Model 3 video back on the screen. Yes, this was the talk of the town at CES, is the connectivity for the cars. As a matter of fact, they call it smart cities because it's beyond the car being connected to outside world. It's about the outside world providing infrastructure. So in the future, cars will communicate with other cars and with the infrastructure, like the roads, the signals, even the buildings or towers, cell phone towers. So everything is connected. So autonomous driving is not going to be just each car having amazing technology and figuring out where to go. It will be about the connectivity. The entire maps are going to be digitized in 3D, and each car will have that map. So really, cars will not need to figure out where the lane dividers are, what color the lights are. Everything is going to be provided as part of the network. As a matter of fact, it's a lot of times it's also called Internet of Things, IoT. They're calling it smart cities now. At least that's what they were presenting it as at CES. And absolutely, it's going to be all about connectivity. There will be, the cars that have cameras and even lidars. They are really going, well, no, lidars will probably still survive and cameras, but the technology that you think of right now as autonomous driving technology will be drastically different another 5 to 10 years, with the whole infrastructure will be wrapped around autonomous driving technology. So you're absolutely right, Tom. Thank you for that comment. Let's see. Isaac Park in the chat room says, how will they be rolling out hydrogen recharging stations? Anyone stepping up to the challenge? Well, Isaac, apparently in Japan and in Europe, some of the governments are supporting that and they're rolling them out. It's just the efforts are not good enough to sustain that. I think for all of the sales of battery-powered cars now, and where the whole industry is really going. So I think that's not the bet I think they want to make, but they're making that bet, unfortunately. And as you can see, hydrogen fuel cell cars in the United States can only be sold in California, and even here, people don't really want to buy them because we have like, what, 50 refueling stations in an entire state, and you can't charge them at home. You can't refuel them at home. Frosty Flake says, Bill Gates now funding nuclear power reactors in China. That's interesting. Hydrogen is the favorite fantasy of the oil companies. That is correct. That is correct. They can be selling your H2 by the gallon. That is something that they probably would like, but I think they're going to lose, hopefully. James in the chat room says, why don't automakers make their existing cars all electric instead of making concept cars? An electric Chevy Camaro or Ford Fusion would be cool. Well, here's the thing. You know, that's an interesting idea, but you know, it takes 2 or 3 years to develop a car and put it in production, sometimes longer, sometimes it is up to 5 years. So by then, you usually, even if it was your regular gas car in a lineup, you're gonna end up refreshing the exterior, interior, and so forth. So really taking an existing car and saying, okay, let's figure out how to make it electric. If you don't have any electric car technology, that would be definitely a waste of time, because you can just get a new version of that car already figured out and produced in the same time. But this car, I've been talking about it a lot. Kia Niro EV, they've done pretty much what you just said. They have Kia EV plug-in hybrid. And a hybrid car, which already has an electric powertrain. See, that's different. Now you can convert this car to a fully electric car much easier, and very few things need to be done. As you can see, they have massaged the way it looks. There's no more grill, as you can see, to create this all fully electric car. By the way, 238-mile range, if I haven't mentioned it 100 times yet. It does have a really cool range. So that's why Kia is taking it to production. So that's a good point if you were talking about having a plug-in hybrid being taken into the electric car, a version of it. But of course, you have to have a damn technology. Not everybody has a technology right now to have over 200-mile range, which seems to be as an expected range if you're going to come up with an electric car. So that's that. Thank you for that question, James. Actually, that's a great idea. And again, it's not as simple, but it is if you are Kia that's taking advantage of it and has the technology, or working with another manufacturer like LG Cam providing that technology to you. Let's see. The future is already here. It's just unlimited distributed. Jesus Christ says. By the way, it's great to have Jesus Christ in the chat room. You know, it's never bad. So I appreciate your comment. George says it was in Tesla owners event Amsterdam. Better navigation in Autopilot coming this quarter. YouTube. Yes, well, George, Elon Musk himself, I believe, had a Twitter storm a couple of weeks ago and promised a bunch of different new features, including the upgrade to the navigation system, which I believe is necessary, especially for the estimated time of arrival, which I actually use my Google phone for that, and the Google Maps for the better estimated time of arrival. I feel like Tesla does not take an account of the traffic information, which it does have from Google, to estimate. And by the way, the other day I was just late once again because I decided to rely on Tesla's navigation and not on Google Maps, and I was late. So that's one of many features Elon said will be updated, and I'm looking forward to it. Okay, Smooth Operator says, now you know, I was just thinking today that your channel should have way more subscribers because they're very fair and balanced. Plus, you keep us informed. Well, by the way, this is not the Now You Know channel. I hate to disappoint you. This channel is called E for Electric here. Now You Know is actually a great channel that I just had a collaboration with once again last week, where I reported from CES specifically for them. Look for it in their latest Tesla Time News, I believe they call it their segment. I think we're like a 22-minute mark. And I've done collaboration with them before. I met them in person, very nice guys. But I appreciate it. Yes, listen, this channel is all about bringing you the latest news as soon as they come out, within 24 hours. So this is why I do quick daily live shows. Of course, today is Sunday. We're just kind of doing a recap and a longer kind of a subscriber hangout, which I absolutely love. I have to say, guys, this is a highlight of my week. Besides spending it with my girlfriend, this is the second most favorite thing I do during the week, is just hang out here live with you guys and just talk about electric cars. Let's see. This is a good channel for sure. Thank you, Frosty Flake. And you know who makes this channel great? You guys. This, see, right here. This is what makes this channel great. Problem is still charging infrastructure, Frosty Flake. Absolutely, guys. This goes without saying. Besides Tesla, no one's got an infrastructure for quick charging, for traveling, and even they are still need to upgrade their infrastructure to even faster charging. I think people won't be satisfied until you can fuel up 200-300 miles in about under 5 minutes. By the way, Fisker, you know, Fisker claims that that's what they got going on. They've said that they have a technology patented. In my interview with their CEO, Henrik, and I'm going to show you some of the footage. Oh, I did not do it right. All right, forget it. Now you know what happens when you have 4 hours of sleep. Fisker now patented the technology for a solid-state battery. They can be charged another 1 minute, about 500 miles. Now, a lot of people doubt why, how come, you know, it's going to burn the place down. It's too much energy going on at the same time. But Henrik explained to me the counterpoint about, you know, having a low resistance in a solid-state batteries that can, and also it can be charged under different conditions. So that's a counter argument for that. We'll see what happens, but it looks like solid-state batteries is the way to go. Kia Niro, please, says Alexis, please change the wheels. These ones are ugly. Let me go back to that. Oh, it is already on the screen. Actually, a lot of people really liked those wheels, I have to say. So, but yeah, I mean, listen, whenever they do prototypes, which this one really is technically, they really put different types of wheels on it than you're really going to have. And if these wheels will ever make it to the market, it will be an option, and a probably expensive option, because they look like 23s or 24s. They're humongous. Christian says, tomorrow you will break into 10,000 subscribers, so congratulations. If I can't congratulate you tomorrow, I must go to the hospital. Hope everything's okay, first of all, Christian. But yes, thank you. It looks like, I don't know where we're at with subscriber count. Let me check on my phone. But yeah, it looks like we're very close. Listen, guys, it's really not my milestone. It's your milestone. This is something for you to celebrate. And absolutely, I am grateful for having this community. Yeah, we are at, what, 99.55. Yeah, so probably today or tomorrow. Again, I think this is something that to celebrate as a community, because, you know, 10,000 subscribers, 10,000 people strong. This community has been absolutely amazing. I think this is the best community out there among the, I mean, and I'm not trying to start any kind of war. I'm not talking about my channel. I'm talking about my channel's following, because you guys have been nothing but amazing in terms of participating, building this community, contributing to this community. So I am forever grateful to you guys. And yes, it is our milestone of hitting 10,000 subscribers, and hopefully many more next this year. We are fast growing community, so I'm very excited about it. So thank you all for being part of this community. If you haven't subscribed, please consider subscribing. This is I have enjoyed this greatly. Morton Lon in the chat room says, news is already plural. You cannot say 5 news. So you can say 5 pieces of news or 5 news stories. Morton is actually referring to my thumbnail for this. Well, my excuse, English is a second language. Okay, first of all. Secondly, I only have so much real estate there. But yes, when I was making that thumbnail, I was like, oh, does this sound right? But I think I've got the point across. Maybe not with the best English, but granted. God, you know, oh, that's okay. That's fine. I understand. But I guess I was going to say, I wish when you speak up next time, you will contribute to the conversation rather than correcting my English. But I stand corrected. Nigel, where did Now You Know get the Model 3 from, or is it a secret? So, okay, so here's the thing. I had my hands on Model 3 in August. Okay, the reason I couldn't present it to you guys is because I'm trying to build a good relationship with companies like Tesla, and they were not up for doing that. They basically, you know, their policy was that those employees who got a hold of Model 3 and purchased it from them still should not be talking to the media or anybody or posting any kind of YouTube videos. The reason you saw all this Model 3 news up until pretty much now, that was all done at the risk of those employees being fired, at the risk of the YouTube channels maybe getting in trouble. So you know, even though it would be great to be the first one, which I really was, to get my hands on the Model 3, I wanted to also respect the, you know, Tesla's marketing strategy, I guess, if you will, and their request to not do that. So those Tesla's Model 3s, especially at, I believe, one of the first one that actually made it, was by a Trevor, I think, of Model 3 Owners Club, or was it that the detailing shop? Anyway, they were not careful enough to disclose a VIN number in their video, which I don't know what happened to that person, but I mean, obviously Tesla is really harsh on those employees who disclose that information. So, but yeah, I'm no one's going to disclose that. Now Tesla told me it's okay to do the reviews and everything, but I think there has been plenty. Yeah, I think that's just I think it's just a way I believe I should do business as this channel, in order for me to bring some great news and keep you guys up to date. I need to have a good relationship with those companies, and screwing them over is just not the way to do that. I think those channels will pay a price for it at some point when they need something from Tesla, and Tesla will say, hey, you know, remember when you screwed us over with that Model 3 video? We'll pass. So this is just a path that I'm taking. You know, they're grown big boys and girls. They figure out their own path, but that's how they chose it, and that's why we have those videos. You know, look at the bright side too. Smooth Operator says Toyota invested over $13 billion with Panasonic on solid-state batteries, moving in the right direction. By the way, don't forget, the battery technology is not just for cars. The solid-state battery technology is probably you're gonna see them in your phones before you see them in your cars, because that's where it's moving towards, and it's a great technology. Nigel says, nearly made a mistake. Girlfriend would have had you buy the batteries. Keeping with the girlfriend. All right, I think that's a comment about this being my second most favorite part of my week, which is true. Nigel says, if you put up the wrong picture or wrong spelling, it gets you noticed. Well, I don't think I misspelled anything, but I just guess I phrased it. Well, how would you guys phrase it? I mean, I can change the thumbnails. Go ahead, whoever made that comment, go ahead. Tell me how I can fit. Tell me how I can fit, you know, the better phrasing in that real estate. Christian says, good night, Christian. Sweet dreams. I hope you dream about Model 3 or whatever car you are looking to get forward to getting to next. Good night, says Nigel. Germany calling. Tony says, Alex, remind people to hit the like button. Yes, Tony is reminding me to remind you guys. Don't forget to hit the like button if you enjoy this video, because the videos do much better once they're reposted. They've already tons of thumbs up. And whoever's correcting me about my English, you can hit the, you know, what do you call it? You can hit a thumbs up, you know, as well as an encouragement for me to use better English. So, Gene, Alex never apologized for being a decent human being. I don't think I'm apologizing for being a decent human being. I'm just, you know, and I guess I'm not apologizing. I guess I'm saying that, you know, some stories I can't bring to you guys because it's not the last time I'm producing a video, and I want to be in a good relationships with companies. And, you know, don't forget, I like Tesla. I like any company. I love Tesla, actually. I like any company that is making this revolution possible with electric cars. So I don't want to screw them over. And if they believe that some information shouldn't be out there because that's how they want to run it, then I won't do it. Now, remember, I'm here in Silicon Valley. I have friends who work for Tesla. And yes, once in a while, I have information that I probably shouldn't have, or, you know, shouldn't tell you guys. And yes, I hold on to it. And that's because of my respect for the companies that want to make this happen. If, again, other channels want to do business differently, that I can't help that. I'm not their dad. And, you know, that's why there are different YouTube channels out there. So I hope that answers that. But yeah, I don't think I'm making an apology for being a decent human being. I'm just letting you guys know that that's how I do business, so I can have more quality content for you in the future and not just today, the latest news. Let's see. George says Model 3 CarMax 44,000. I know if you're replying to somebody, but I don't know what that means. Gene suggests saying 5 big news items about Model 3 is what I should put on my thumbnail. I will definitely consider that. Gene, thank you. I appreciate it. By the way, guys, let me know. Is this thumbnail for this video really bothering you, or do you think it comes across as fine? Or if I should change that. Aji says, hello from New Jersey. How are you? I think you should have a display car coming to the store near you very soon. So watch out for that. Let's see. Gene says he misunderstood. No problem. Guys, I'm running on 4 hours of sleep, so my brain is fried too. So I might be reading some of this stuff wrong. I never pronounce your name correctly. Ulysses. Okay, sorry. I'm awful, and my brain is fried. He says, Ulysses, right? There you go. I think I got it right. Okay, he says, hey, Alex, isn't it worth it to reserve my Model 3 now? Or is it better to wait for more options for the Model 3? Well, I think you should reserve it now, because don't forget, it is like 400,000 people in line. Some people will end up waiting over a year, especially if you're in Europe or outside of the United States or outside of California. So definitely reserve it. It's $1,000 only. I mean, if you buy a $40,000 car, $1,000 shouldn't be a big deal. It counts towards your down payment, and it's fully refundable at any point in time. So to me, I have 2 reservations. That's $2,000. To me, I don't really care if it's on my savings account or if it's Tesla savings account. I know I can get it back anytime soon, but it gives me an opportunity to get this car whenever the features that I want will come out, and that's what I'm doing right now. You can actually, there's a feature there, if you are now able to configure your Model 3, there's a feature there to put it on hold for 2 reasons. One, Tesla will stop calling and emailing you, which they've done a lot to me before I did that, but also they will notify you when the feature that you're waiting for will become available, and you can be one of the first people to configure that. So that's the reason to put that on hold. But yes, I recommend it for everybody. I'm just going to say, if you have $1,000 and if you live in a country where Model 3 is going to be available in the next 2 years, go ahead and do it now. Let's see. Gene says, dude, you just used the words "I'm sorry" again twice. LOL. I know, but I'm not apologizing for being a decent human being. I'm just saying that that's how I run the business. All right. We'll move on. How about that? Again, fried brain right here. All Europeans speak better English than the English, says Nigel. I don't know. My English is really, can probably use a little more help. I've started learning it at 15 when I came here to the United States, which was a long time ago. Just celebrated my 25-year anniversary actually being here. But yeah, I can definitely use some help once in a while. Frosty Flake asked me a very interesting question. Have you ever considered doing a channel in Russian? I have considered that. I have I had another channel that was a fashion channel, man's fashion channel, that I did a couple of videos in Russian. Here's the thing. Doing this channel is a lot of work. I have a full-time job, and I also spend over 40 hours, at least 40 hours. This week is probably about 60 hours this week on the channel. So producing pretty much another channel in Russian, where I would have to literally do this over again in a different language, is going to be really tough. For this topic, I'm not even considering it right now, because electric cars in Russia is really just not there, where it's not popular. They're not being sold in large amounts. Even Tesla presence in Russia is not that great. Don't shoot the messenger, by the way. I'm going to have a bunch of Russians saying, oh, we have a club, we have all these Teslas. You do have Teslas in Russia, just not enough to make enough impact or to have enough for me to do another channel. But one day, maybe I'll do videos in Russian once in a while, just kind of once that it start take off in Russia. So there is, it's an interesting point, but enough with the modesty, Alex, says my girlfriend, who usually tells me I should be more modest. Damn, you can never, please a woman, is always doing something wrong. Okay, all right. She's probably not. She's in the next room, so I probably should be careful. Nigel says, Kia Niro looks like the Porsche SUV. Yeah, a little bit. I wouldn't say, in person it really doesn't, I have to say. Maybe this particular picture, maybe it does. I guess I can see that. I think it also looks a little bit like what I think Model Y would look like. So that's that. When is new Tesla coming out? Model 3, says the cool gaming boy. Tesla Model 3 is out now. There's a 400,000 person waiting list, but it's out right now. They're making it. They just have to make enough for everybody who wants one. So the cool gaming boy, if you're looking to get one, you should probably go to tesla.com and put $1,000 down to reserve your spot. You will be 400,000 first, probably. Take credit where credit is due, says Tony. Okay, I will do that. I'm taking the credit, but I have to say that you can't take credit for subscribers, right? Subscribers are you guys. So you should take credit for, subscribe. By the way, it would be interesting question. If you're watching this channel either right now live or in a replay, I'm curious, how did you find my channel before you subscribed? And was there something in particular that made you guys subscribe? I'm just curious. Let's do a quick focus group here. I'm just wondering because, I have some videos that I'm really proud of. They're like amazing videos that nobody watches. And some videos have run away and have 10, 20, 30,000 views. Sometimes they're the videos that I put together really quickly. So I don't always know what it is that made you guys to subscribe. But most importantly, I'm interested in how you found me. All right, the gray hair looks very cool, says Saga Photo. I grew it all myself. Thank you, I appreciate it. I actually used to have a hair salon. I know it's kind of weird, but I'm into men's fashion, so I wanted to get a hair salon, and I used to color my hair. And once I met my current girlfriend about almost 7 years ago, she told me, "Don't color your hair." I was like, "But I'm gonna look really old," and she told me to stop. And ever since, I've been getting compliments on my hair. Though I have to say, seeing people for the first time, like I met them with my color hair that was like look all just regular black color, and then I stopped coloring in like 3 months. I met them like that, and like, oh my god, are you dying? You got gray in like 3 months. But after that, it was all good. So I appreciate it, guys. The picture, yes, Porsche size, asks Nigel. Okay, so I think it does. The size is of a Porsche. Damn it, it's a smaller SUV. It escapes my mind. My friend actually, Artyom, has one. But yeah, it is that same size. It's, basically the size of a crossover SUV. Let's see. All right, you guys are just ganging up on me in the chat room with my girlfriend. Great. The cool gaming boy says, but how do you design because when you go to the website, I can't design it. Well, you can't design it because here's how it works. And for those of you guys who may be like coming into this whole Tesla universe late, here's the way how this works for the Model 3 right now, and really for other Teslas as well, but with Model 3. You come in and you can't just buy a car. This car is in a high demand. Even for Model 3, for Model S and Model X, there's 2 to 3 months wait. For this car, it's about 12 months wait, depending on where you are in the world. But you have to put your name on the list. There's over 400,000 people on that list, okay? You put $1,000 down and they put you in the queue. Depending whether or not you're a current Tesla owner, depending if you live in the United States and in California or New York, depending on that, they will call you. They will reach out to you once your turn comes in, and they'll say, okay, we are ready for you to purchase this car. We're just going to have to make it. Tell us what you want this to be configured at, and only then you configure that car. Right now, you can't even configure some of the options that a lot of people are waiting for. Right now, all you think you can configure is the paint color and the wheels. I'm losing my voice. But you have to go with the long range and the premium package. But in the next few months, there will be more options. So that's how it works. So first, you have to reserve your spot. Once you get your turn, then you will be able to configure it. I hope that answers your question, the cool gaming boy. Thank you for asking. Let's see, Huggy Bear 9922999, a very long username. What extra features will come later for the Model 3 as options? Okay, well, obviously the standard battery range, and that's what we're waiting for right now. That's what's coming next. Then the dual motor that you can see here in the leaked picture that was posted on Reddit. Then you'll have that feature. Of course, you will have an option of whether or not you want to have a premium package. They will probably break off other features like they've done with the Model S and Model X. You will also be able to choose your wheels, which you actually can do it right now. Obviously, the option for the paint, and I think there might be a solid roof option that I took with my car. I actually don't like the panoramic roofs or any kind of sunroofs. So they will have more and more options. Some of them are already announced, some of them are not announced, but those are the first ones you're going to have in the next few months. So that's pretty much it. Is there something you're looking for? Let me know. Maybe I can make a comment on that. Macan, right? Porsche Macan, right? Is that what it is? Is that the Porsche that's a crossover that we were talking about? All right. VTS 747 says "Седина украшает," which in Russian means a gray hair makes you more handsome. All right, and that also gets me to practice my Russian also. It came from suggestion from YouTube, says Frosty Flake, as far as how he found my channel. That's awesome. I hope I get suggested for other videos that are relevant. Jean says, my wife makes me dye the hair and the beard too. Wow. Okay, see, to each its own, man. See, when I own a hair salon, one thing I've noticed, especially with women, whatever it is that you're born with, you want the opposite. All the women that were brunettes wanted to be blondes. All the blondes wanted to be brunettes. Girls with straight hair wanted them curly. The curly haired girl wanted them straight. The girls with long hair wanted them short. I mean, basically the opposite. And that's how hair salons make money. Ooh, I got a really controversial question from Chidi in the chat room. Says, which city is better, Moscow or St. Petersburg? Okay, I'm from Moscow, but I work with a lot of Russian guys who are from St. Petersburg. If you're looking to visit and if you want to be wowed by architecture, for example, and culture, you definitely want to go to St. Petersburg because it was the capital of Russia during the era where a lot of amazing architecture was built, influenced by France and a lot of French architecture. It's absolutely amazing. Now, Moscow has its own as well. I'm just saying that in those terms, you want to go to St. Petersburg. But you know, I mean, if you already got to Russia, those cities, I actually don't know. I think they're 1 hour by plane. So you might actually just visit both. But yeah, I think most foreigners, if you just want to see amazing architecture, you would go there. But if you want to see the Red Square, a lot of like symbolism of communism that fell, like the icons of Lenin and Lenin himself. You can actually still see Lenin in the mausoleum, still on the Red Square. Then obviously you got to go to Moscow. But that's a very loaded question, and I'm probably going to get a lot of slack for it, especially if any of my coworkers are watching. Basic Flash Cube asks, will Model 3 have a vehicle-to-grid power flow feature? No, I don't think so. I think this is something that some car manufacturers are trying to do, but no, they don't have it yet. Nigel says, do you think in 2-3 years Model 3 might get cheaper like S did for battery? I don't think it will get cheaper, and I don't think that's what really happened with Model S. What happened with Model S, they've included some packages as standard, or some features as standard, right? And they've lowered the price for the bottom entry. But I think still, the latest, if you want to get the latest technology, those prices were still the same. But yes, the more outdated features or standard features were included and therefore lowering the price. I mean, I guess, okay, I'll just stand corrected on that one. Yeah, I think that will happen. I mean, I think maybe as a Tesla introduces a longer range, even longer than the 310, the basic model, if they decide to keep it as they've done with 60 and 70 for a while, that will fall in price. So I can see that happening. Gene says, found you on Teslanomics. You know what? I've never been on that channel. Actually, me and Ben have never collaborated, no matter how many times I've proposed that to him. But but I guess I'm assuming it was a suggested video for one of his videos. Is this gray hair bearded channel? Asks Nigel. It might just be where this conversation is going. Let's see. Heat pumps are not very efficient. Says Gene, I'm assuming it's a reply to someone else. Stan in the chat room says, do you know if the Kia Niro EV will use a heat pump to bed Model 3? Okay, that wasn't a reply to that. No, I don't know that. I gotta tell you, they have not released too many specs for us. So if you go to my channel right now and go to the second row or the second section of electric car vlog, that's where I have all of my CES videos that are coming out. a Kia video is there. So everything I know about Kia is there, including my interview with Kia's executive vice president. So that's all I know. So check out that video. It's very short. It's like 4 minutes long, so it won't take you that much. Huggy Bear 9922999 says, thanks for the answer. Does Tesla offer DAB radios in Europe? I don't know. I don't know. I think they have Sirius satellite radio, but I never heard of this actually, so I don't know. I'm sorry. I'm gonna have to look it up. EV Planet says, by the time Model 3 comes to Europe, there will be lots of others. I don't advise placing a reservation. Okay, well, I disagree. First of all, you can place a reservation, and by the time you're ready to buy your car, if your reservation can be configured, then you will have a choice. Because if you don't have a reservation, you won't have a choice even by the time your time comes, because by then there will be more people in line. And even just like now with Model S that's been out for 5 years, the line I believe right now is anywhere from 2 to 4 months. So I would recommend you to make the reservation so you do have that option, because EV Planet, that's not guaranteed that other cars will be as good or better. And also, let's talk about the price. It's going to be priced the same as Model 3 in Europe. Also, will they have the supercharging network that Tesla already has? So in order for you to not, be upset with yourself and kind of taking that option off the table, I would say put the reservation if you have the money for the Tesla Model 3 or maybe any other cars that are taking reservations that you're considering. So by the time you're ready to buy, you will have that option, and all of them are obviously fully refundable. So I'm sorry, EV Planet, I will disagree with you on that one. Tony says, Alex, if you're discussing 5 items that hit the news wire recently, then it's fine. If you're discussing 5 Model 3 news items, that is different. Revise accordingly if necessary. Well, I mean, I'm discussing 5 different Tesla news that hit the newswire. So I guess it's kind of a combination. Unless I'm misunderstanding your answer. Again, 4 hours of sleep in my head right now. Gene says, actually, I think Tesla did say that they were able to lower costs and pass that savings on to customers. Yes, granted, but the way they did it wasn't necessarily by lowering the price. I believe a lot of times they've included some of those features into a standard basic option, or basically just remove that option all along, and because it was like $5,000. So generally speaking, I'm going to go back and just say, yes, they have technically lowered their price. But don't forget, then they raised it because they tried to do the gap, to make the gap between Model S and Model 3. So people don't confuse that. Let's see. Ulysses, once again, I think I'm getting better at pronouncing your name. Alex, I found your channel by looking at Tesla Model 3 car videos, and Tesla Sand, by the way, you pronounce it Ulysses, correct. Thank you for answering my question. I'm still working on it, sorry. Nigel says, been to St. Petersburg, go to Paris, London, Rome, have not seen Moscow. Gray is my beard. Some green SAR museums. Yeah, great museums in St. Petersburg too, you're right. Tim Jean in the chat room says, American cars are always too big, roofs are too big, roofs are too high, affecting roll center advisory and adding to more frontal area and drag. So, American cars, don't forget, Tesla is an American car too. And the center of gravity is low on all electric cars because the batteries are now mounted at the bottom. RB says, guess I'm late, I'll come back for the video. Well, you can still hang out. I'll be here for another few minutes, don't worry. Might have it by retirement, says Nigel. Let's see. Or you have, okay, so Saga Photo DE says, or should, I guess he's asking me if he should reserve other cars too. If a manufacturer is taking reservations and the car is not available to you immediately, if you have the money and if it's a fully refundable deposit, which I believe all of them are, yes, go ahead and reserve all of the cars that are going to be coming to the market that you possibly could be interested in, so you can make a decision. Because really, let's say you put $5,000 between 5 of them, right? $1,000 each, whatever. And then one day comes and you say, okay, I want to get that one. First of all, you have a choice, probably a better choice than anybody at that time if you put the reservations for those, but you can take the $4,000 out of those reservations for the cars you're not going to buy and use that money for your down payment for this car. So really, you're just saving money for your next down payment anyway. Why not make it work for you and to make yourself available for all options, or have options available to you when you're ready to buy your car? So yes, if you have the money, then go ahead and do it. I would strongly recommend it. Let's see, Bromance also a little late. It's almost 2 hours, man. I'm almost losing my voice. But hey, great to see you in the chat room as usual. Hope you're having a great Sunday. Nigel says, how can they bring out lower price unless they bring out Model 5 EG? I think I'm lost on this one. Maybe Model S, maybe you okay, anyway. Isaac says, my guess on some models, they will have a price drop, which is probably true. Either price drop, and companies don't like dropping the price, right? I think what they're going to do is they're going to include features that are premium features or features you have to pay for in a standard option, and they come up with other features that they can charge for. Let's see. Hey, Alex, long time no see. What's up? Says Eco Kids. Welcome back. I'm only going to assume you've been traveling to exotic countries and having an amazing vacation for the Christmas and New Year break. Please tell me that's so. But welcome back. Nevertheless, I'm almost done here, but good to see you live. I'm never reserving anything, says Bromance. The tech in me knows everything tech related has at least a 6 months live test periods. Yeah, well, again, you can reserve something and not use your reservation immediately. Like I am right now, I could have had my car already, my Model 3 a few weeks ago, but I am putting it on hold. So I have an option at any time to configure it when I so please. So that's why I'm recommending that. Helmuth in the chat room says, how far do you think is Tesla with their AP development in their cars for internet testing? Nobody knows. If you would have asked me a few months ago how far they are developing their second generation Roadster and what range it was going to have, I would be completely off, right? They are good at keeping that a secret and surprising us every time they roll something out. So I'm going to assume that they know that they have a problem, that they're working on their own chip, right? For the self-driving. So I think that will help. I think whenever they roll it out, it will probably be one of the best. So we should give them that benefit of the doubt. Let's see. To get Tesla in Northern Ireland, I have to buy it in Scotland, says Nigel. Well, you know what? To get a Tesla, I believe in Texas or some other states that you still can't buy them. You have to go to another state and buy it sometimes, though you can have it delivered. But I'm just saying, it's still not that simple, even here in the United States. Alex, you don't mention the time your slow starts off. Wait, Gene says, Alex, you don't mention the time your show starts often enough. Guys, my show starts at 11 a.m. every day Pacific time. There will be exceptions. I believe there will be a week in February where I just have commitments in the morning. Something has to do with my job. So I will be doing them later in the evening, which also will give me a chance to reach a different audience. Different people can watch me live because it will be shifted by about 8 hours. But at this point, it is every day, 11 a.m. Pacific time. Nigel says, do you think Tesla really wants to produce sub $25,000 cars in the future? I think so. I mean, I think Tesla is just like any car manufacturer, wants to get everybody who can afford a car into their car. For example, BMW has a 1 Series. You can buy that for like $25,000, right? And they want those people money. Don't forget, those cars, really entry cars, especially for the luxury brands, they don't make them any money. But they introduce new buyers to the brand. They hope that they like it. They like the car. They like the service. They like everything that comes with it. And once they, maybe these are 20-something-year-old kids that will get a better job in the future. And by the time they're buying the second car, now they can afford a 3 Series or 5 Series or just more expensive car. So I think Tesla would be interested in producing even cheaper cars than $35,000 Model 3, simply to introduce kids, literally, college kids to their brand. I think it's a great strategy for all car manufacturers. Let's see. Ben Dixon says, hi, Alex. Good to see you again. Ben, I hope you're having a great Sunday. Good to see you as well. Guys, I am losing my voice. My brain is fried on 4 hours of sleep, so I hang on for as long as I could. But thank you for all of your questions. Thank you once again for what it seems like is going to be 10,000 subscriber milestone hitting either today or tomorrow. Once again, I will see you guys all at 11 a.m. tomorrow, as I'm sure we'll have more news. Again, this cycle has been dominated by Model 3, but a lot of good news, so that was exciting. All right, guys, thank you once again. I will answer all the rest of the questions in the comment section. It's been a pleasure. Now I gotta get hydrated, I gotta get my voice back, and I gotta get some food. So I will see you guys next time, and remember to stay charged.